Hello everybody and welcome back to this section, and right now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use requests library in order to change some of your headers in your actual HTTP request. So for example, we know that when we send the HTTP request, we actually send a few different things such as the actual IP address, the user agent, the encoding, the data, everything you send within that request, and some of those things or different fields that you're sending with the HTTP request also send your information, such as for example the user agent. Now the user agent sends the information about you, your browser, your PC basically, and it sends it back to the server, and then the server can actually see from where or not from where or basically from what you are sending your request. So for example, let me just show you. If we open up our burp suite, I'm not really sure if we can see it there, but we can definitely try to do something like that to actually intercept our request and see what are the things that we actually send to the server once we perform an HTTP request. So right here, okay, I accept, doesn't even matter. Burp suite is basically an actual program that comes in the Kali Linux, and with which you can actually intercept the HTTP requests and HTTP replies. Now the burp suite actually has to have a certificate in your Firefox, so make sure to do that before actually trying to intercept the requests with this tool. There are a bunch of other tutorials on YouTube on how to do that, so that is not really something that we will cover. All you want to do after you configure it with your Firefox is turn the intercept off in order so you can actually load the pages themselves. Because if your intercept is on in this tool, that means it will just skip, or not skip, it will just pause at every packet you try to send and receive, and it will not load the page until you forward that packet manually. So right here, let us go for example to our 192.168.1.5, which is our Metasploitable. Let me just go right here before we actually do any of that, since in preferences I need to set our burp suite. Okay, never mind. In this tool it is not set. We will just not use burp suite at this moment. So what we want to do right now is actually open up our Python interpreter. There really isn't a point to use a program at the moment, and first of all we want to import the requests library, which will allow us to send the actual requests themselves, just as in the previous videos. And the first thing you want to do is actually navigate to this website right here. Let me just go right here, open up my Firefox, and there is a website called httpbin.org/headers. Not really sure if it still exists, but we can try to do it. So, httpbin.org/headers. And this website, what this website will basically do is it will show you how your request looks like. So you can see right here, you can either check the headers themselves like this, the request and the response header, the raw data, and you can also check it in the JSON format if you like. Now you can see the requests header has some different fields, as I said, such as encoding, host, user agent, and this user agent field basically sends the information about us. As you can see, Mozilla Firefox, Linux x86, this is all information about our Kali Linux machine that is going to the server with our request headers. If you want to, for example, change just this field and send to the server as if you're connecting from some different device or something, anything you basically want to specify, you can do that with the Python library. So let us go right here. First of all, close this, import requests, and what you want to do is use a variable, or not a variable, in this case it will be a dictionary, because we want to specify dictionary the same as in our brute forcer. We want to call the dictionary my headers. So this will be our header fields, which will contain the key and the value of different fields. So first of all, we will specify the field between the quotes. So the field name is user-agent. So that is the field name that we actually want to change. And the reason why we're changing this is because this is the only actual field that sends our information. Now, in order to specify or to separate the key from the value, we just type here 2 dots. And then again, between the quotes, we specify the actual value we want to add to this field right here. So the value that we want to add will be basically anything you want. So for example, let's pretend that we are iPhone 6. So just type here iPhone 6, press enter, and we created a dictionary that has a value of iPhone 6 in the field user agent. All we have to do right now is actually create a response. So we can call it r equals requests.get, and then between the request.get, first of all, we need to specify what web page we want to actually get the response from. So we can just specify the HTTP and the 2 dots and then 2 slashes, and then http bin.org/headers. So if you just press here enter, this is just going to actually get the page itself, and you can see right now if we just print for example r.url, it will print you the URL that we try to actually search. If you print r.txt or text, it will actually send the output of that page itself. So you can see right now that currently our actual header or request headers look like this. So we have the accept coding, host, and the user agent is set right now to be Python requests with this version, which means that the server will know that we actually perform these requests with Python program. Now, for example, you want to change that. You do not want to do that with the actual Python program. You want to make sure that the server doesn't know how we perform this request. So you can do that with r2 equals, this is our second request that we are actually going to send. So r2 equals requests.get. In between the actual single quotes, we can specify the same link. So http, then 2 dots / http bin.org/headers. And afterwards, we're also in the brackets now separate it with the comma and specify the headers that you want to send. So headers equal my headers, which is a dictionary that we created at the beginning of our program. Press here enter. This will take time to actually send the request and get the response back. And if you print the r2.url, it will print the same URL as before. But right now, if you print r2.text, you can see that currently our headers are different. We actually have the user agent field specified as iPhone 6. This is our request that we performed, and now the server will actually receive this data right here, and there will be no other way for them to actually find out how we send this. Now, of course, user agent iPhone 6 is never specified like this. They would know that someone has actually changed this, because this is not something that you really see, especially if you can do something like this. So let us find my headers. You can just type here iPhone 12 and basically perform the actual same request right here. And if I print r2.text, they would think that the actual request came from the iPhone 12, which didn't even come out yet. Now, maybe in future, if you watch this, there is an iPhone 12, but currently there really isn't. So this is something that you can actually change to anything you want. For example, let's set my headers variable. Let's also set a different field. So the field can be something like this. Let us see whether this will work. So comma, then we specify host, 2 dots, and for example, google.com. Let's see whether this right now will work. If we try to search for the same website, print r2.text, and you can see that right now it appears as if the host is google.com, even though we search for this website right here. Which can be a little bit strange, but that is something that Python library or Python request library allows us to do. Now, you don't need to use this website, just this website is useful to practice this because it actually shows you your requests. If you, for example, wanted to load the actual Metasploitable website or Metasploitable web page, which is on our IP address of 192.168.1.5, you can do that with r3 equals requests.get, or let us just change this to r3 because we don't want to type everything once again, and we can just print here r3.text. And you can see right here, let me just check it out. Okay, yeah, we didn't really change the actual website that we are searching for, so delete this up to the 2 slashes and then 192.168.1.5. Press here enter, it will perform its GET request, it will take just a few seconds, and after it finishes, we will just print the r3.text to see what we get from there. Now, of course, in that actual field, you will not be getting these headers anymore. You will be getting the actual contents of the page. So r3.text is actually the contents of the page itself that you use to load. Now, the reason why we are here getting printed the actual headers is because the actual contents of this page that we try to load are our headers. It is used to test this program, or not this program, basically any program that actually interferes with the headers themselves. So for some reason this is taking a little bit of time. Let us see why is that. Now we can actually just try to search for a different website. Or let us actually go to our Python program. So Python programs, brute forcers, nano, iPhone 6.py. So we can just call it anything we want. User bin Python. Let us just import requests real quick. Requests. And then what we want to do is create my headers once again. We will set that to be equal to our iPhone. So open and close these weird brackets, not really sure how to call them. User-agent agent 2 dots iPhone 6. Okay. Then we perform the actual GET request. So requests.get. We want to get, for example, this web page right here. Doesn't even matter. You can just test this on any web page you want. Just make sure to add the HTTP and then 2 dots and 2 slashes, because otherwise it will not work, and parse the actual headers that you changed into this request, GET request. And then afterwards we can print the r.text. So let us close this, chmod the actual iPhone 6.py, and let us run this. We run our iPhone 6.py, and we can see we print different contents to our web page. Now this content is basically an HTML code of the page that you actually load once you search for that actual website. So this is the HTML code. You don't really print the requests anywhere, but you can see that we were able to connect, even specifying that we are coming from the iPhone 6 and not from the Kali Linux machine over Firefox, or in this case over Python 2, because if we actually perform the request from here, it would say that the user agent was Python 2. So you can see this actual page is huge, so let us just clear this. Now you can just change it to anything you really want. It doesn't have to be iPhone 2. You can just type here Windows 10, but you get the actual point. This is something that allows you to change your headers and therefore even be a little bit more anonymous if you want to while performing some different tasks. So that would be about it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed this little demonstration, and I hope I see you in the next lecture. Bye!